This is the Soma Dvina. It's an ethnic style instrument with two strings. In the documentation, Vlad explains it's in part from Indian instruments, but I have seen Chinese variants. So it's kind of based on an ethnic universal model of an instrument with two strings. So today I'm going to explain basic things to get started with the Dvina, so you don't forget anything and don't get discouraged. So these are built in Moscow by Victor, a luthier from the Soviet times, very competent, and now production has increased. Last year he has an employee, so there are two building these things handmade. If you're in Europe, try and look on eBay, maybe somebody sells one. If they do sell one, track the auction, and then you get an idea how much is market price in Europe. But if you're in Russia, you can just order it from Soma. So how to get started? If you buy a Dvina, chances are it's not your first instrument. So what's interesting with this instrument is that you can self-teach. Basically, you want to emulate a cello. I know a violinist, he will actually play the Vina like this because he plays the violin, which is kind of difficult and not optimal. 99% of players will want to play like a cello. You could also play it like a guitar, like this, but then you could just get the guitar and have more options. So if you're gonna play a cello, you need a cello bow. You could use a violin bow, but these are too light and they tend to skid and make screeching noises. So you need a cello bow. You just go and buy a second-hand cello, or you go in a music store and buy a new cello bow. And then you have to buy some decent rosin. This is bass rosin, it's very good. I bought it like 2 years ago and it's still going. It's called bass rosin from Samuel Goldstein, but you can buy any basic €3 Chinese rosin, doesn't matter, to get started. Once you have the bow and the rosin, you put rosin on the bow. I already did because I just played some of it again. And something that beginners always forget, you have to clean the ropes from last playing session rosin, because if you leave it accumulate, then you're gonna have screechy sounds because the rosin rubs on rosin and it's too much rosin and it makes the string squeal. Speaking of strings, you have two options. So it always has to be metallic strings, obligatory, otherwise the Dvina won't work, because the neodyme magnets rely on the conductivity of the strings. But you do have two options: is the cello metallic strings or the electric guitar metallic strings which have this coil effect. To get started, I would advise cello metallic strings, which are more simple to play, and with some experience you can switch to electric guitar strings, which allow for more special effects, especially if you have some hardware setup down the line, because nobody plays Dvina without anything down the line. And the first thing you do need is a preamp. So I have this preamp Joyo. It's a basic bass guitar preamp, but if you don't have any like Cathedral, any guitar pedal has a preamp incorporated, because you can boost at least the volume, if not the gain. So you need some preamp to amplify what you're doing. And then You can just stop there and just play, or you can have effects down the line, any number of effects as only limited by your budget and imagination. I do have the Soma Cosmos, so I just feed the Dvina music into the Cosmos and through the liras. So these are my effects, and I don't need any other pedal for my music. So once you get all this cabled out, when you get to Vina, you get all these stickers. You can order it with standard layout, but I wouldn't advise it. You just put the stickers yourself. How do you do that? You listen to your own music and you put stickers at the notes or it phases with your music. This is very important. Personally, I tune the A on 432 Hertz. So there are three schools of thought for tuning an instrument. For the A, standard usual is 440 Hertz. Orchestra use 441 Hertz for some reason, which is not comfortable for anybody, but that's what they do. I don't know why. And there is a trend to tune the A note to 432 Hertz, which is a little lower and has some harmonics, which theory says it has harmonics with universal parameters. I just don't know. For me, it just sounds better, so I always tune A to 432 Hertz with an application such as what's it called? Clear Tune on telephone, smartphone, or you can buy a hardware tuner or whatever. So once you tune, once you get your tuner, you tune the high rope on A bemol, and you tune the low rope to C DS. So instead of AD, you tune A bemol and C, a little lower still. So you tune the A lower and you tune the strings lower, and it gives a very dark atmospheric tune to the Dvina. Look, I just do this now. It sounds good because the tuning is right. Once you have your Dvina tune and your bow ready, so you tweak it to have, you don't tweak it too hard, like I just put it back in the storage tension. This is storage tension. So if you play the cello, you would like 4 times and you have this kind of like this. But with the Dvina, especially if you have metallic string, you need a little softer to get more nuance with your hands, doing effects like this. How to hold the bow, there are 2 schools of thoughts again. The academic is to hold like a cello, like this, and you practice in front of the mirror to always have your bow going perpendicular, otherwise you start to make the string squeal, which is not pretty. But the ethnic style is to hold the bow like a fork or something, not refined, and you just play like this, and it allows for faster play, but it allows for less nuance in the delicate far effects of the rope. So I would advise you to watch cello tutorials on YouTube. The most basic tutorials you can find, how to hold the bow. You don't even have to watch tutorial about the left hand, you just watch tutorials on YouTube how to hold the bow on a cello, and you practice on a Dvina the exercise that they show you. And if you are serious, you can like book a budget. For example, you decide you make 10 private lessons with a cello teacher just to get started, and when you do get started, then you can self-teach further, which will save you months of not learning mistakes that you have to then unlearn. But you can fully self-teach the Dvina without any teacher. Just watch tutorials how to hold the bow. I recommend just watch cello tutorials how to hold and play with the bow. And then, because you tune all these fretless stickers, some notes, you have some visual reference. And then you play like this note. And when you turn the finger, you make nuance. I wouldn't recommend learn the vibrato because it's very hard, like it's advanced technique. But vibrato is going like this when you players who do the vibrato. So if you do this move very slowly, you bring nuance to your notes. So this is my Dvina echoing, my Cosmos echoing what I'm playing. If I turn off the recorder, the Cosmos, this is just the Dvina. So you can hear that with the electric guitar string. The note will fade out much faster. But if you have effects such as Cosmos or some feedback loop of some kind, then this note will last much longer because you're already in the effects. So how to apply the bow? You can apply it flat. We can tilt it a little, allows for more nuance. If your rosin is expiring, you can use the other side, brings a fresh note to it. And as you watch the tutorials, you will learn to play half bows, bows in segments, all the tricks of the trade. If you want to stop a note, you just apply a finger slightly, or you play the next note like this. So I can't give you advice where to put the stickers because it's totally personal. If you're scared, you can just order the Vina with a standard sticker layout and add stickers from there. If you're confident where to put what notes to play, you can just aside it, listen to your own music and put the stickers in harmonics with your usual gamut of notes, scales and keys. So also it's important to have the reference where the basic with the fretless second rope matches with the end of the first rope. For example, this is my last note before I would switch to the other rope, because it's pointless to play both at the same time unless you want to do it especially. Also, Victor Grigorev, the luthier, also has assembled an instrument which is called the VG Shaman, which is two Dvina pasted against each other with 4 strings and arch. There's an arch and it looks like some kind of cello, or it's 4 strings, but I did try it. I have in one video when I tried the beta version. You have to put the 2 bass strings in the middle and you have 2 set of effects, which is awesome, but it's kind of harder to play, and if you want to be more free playing, you would still prefer to play the Dvina. What else to say? Yeah, once you get started, you need to practice every day, even if you don't record. If you have something you feel you're ready to show something, you can record, but most of the time, especially when you learn, you will play the Vina without recording. Make the training pleasurable. Like even if you don't make a video or record some song, you will want to turn on your full setup to have the pleasurable sounds of just playing like this beautiful instrument. Also, I recommend playing with headphones. First, if you live in an apartment, not to bother the neighbor with the loud sounds, because you can just rehearse at home. But also, I have two main headphones. Like I have this one, which is has the best sound, but it's kind of open. You can hear what's going on around you. And this one is lower budget and it's kind of more closed. And this model has the advantage that when you play, if you touch the instrument like this, you instantly hear what you say just by contact. Whereas when you don't, even if you have fully analog setup with no lag, you still have to wait to hear what the effect's gonna be. And when you touch by contact the headphones on the instrument, you play a note, you hear it instantly by contact. It's like hearing your voice from the Bluetooth earplugs, and you hear it louder. So even if you play on stage with big loudspeakers, you still need to wear headphones to hear what you do instantly and louder than with like this. For example, if I touch, I hear 5 times louder if I have the headphones in contact, and it doesn't bother the instrument, it just shares the sound. Tuning, you tune with these knobs. As I said, use a tuner which shows you the notes that it hears, or you can use a tuner's mode diapason, and with your ears you tune it manually. Because if you don't have any loudspeaker, maybe the phone won't hear the note at all. So you can tune it by ear. Again, you do this. You hear the instrument in one ear and you put the tuner on the other ear, and you just tune until it matches the note that you want. What else? It's just off the cuff. I didn't prepare anything. I just wanted to make a roundup. If you get at Vina, how to teach how to get started, because there is no right way to play. There is no right way to play the Vina, because it's not an academic instrument. So you play however it works for you, and how it turns out beautiful. You just don't make your bow squeal on the rope, and you play in tune with the scale you decided according to the for example, if you tune the Vina on 432 Hz, then all the instruments have to also, of course, be tuned in the same gamut. The lira doesn't count, but it still has to, because it's not discrete note at all. It's continuous notes, but still has to have tuned the basic knobs, for example, to the same tune. So when you play the bass from this is not tuned, but I didn't play this recently. So you tune the basic notes of your other instruments to the same gamut, and the pipe you just sing it to it. So you do it to that by ear. So you have the basic note. You escalate to do the second rope, and then if you want a drone, you use the low rope as a drone. And then you can play freestyle on the high strings. And Vina has only 2 strings, but if you use the full gamut of the Vina, for example, the basic bass of your bass strings, and you go high in the second, it allows for lots of effects and nuance, especially if you have something else going on, other instruments or somebody playing with you. something else. Or if you play very high the second string, you have to play the bow a little closer to the bridge, because the proportion of the strings shifts, and it's very difficult to play delicate. You play very accurately, not to blow the notes. See, I barely move this finger and it's two different notes because it's very tight, the nuance. Two notes. I just do this. So, and the bass string you would play it a little higher. Also I notice when you switch, if you switch to electric guitar strings with syncovating parts of metal strings, you have to play it a little higher, especially the bass string. And you play the cello string and blow in the middle of the zone here, like here. But if you have electric guitar string, you play it like this. And if you climb high in the notes on the higher string, you play more delicate, and any nuance can be heard. And I don't even play normal because I'm holding the instrument with the phone here. So that's it. That should be enough to get started. If you have any question how to do anything with Vina, post it in the comments. I will try and make a separate video. But bottom line is, if you have a chance to buy Vina and time to play, just go for it, because with any setup it will be a plus, a big plus to your music, because you have all these cool synths with knobs and whatnot. But learning cello is like years of practice, and even guitarist is full-time instrumentalist role. But the Vina you can really quick get started, and if you play ambient you make slow notes, so these are easy to play slow notes, throw them in your memory feedback instrument, and you can play something else, and you can even put the Vina on the side and play something else if you have the drone going. Or you can have some instrument player drone and have the Vina company, and then you can make very simple notes because you have company with your own drone that's going on with the synthesizer. Again here, very stacked nuance with one finger, two notes. And you hear it instantly if you put your headphones on the instrument. Yeah, that's it. If you have a question, put it in the comments. I hope it was useful. See you next time.